What if I told you that your biggest enemy isn't your boss, your bank account, or even your lack of time, and it's your own brain? Every single day, your brain makes thousands of decisions before you even realize what's happening. It tells you to hit the snooze button instead of getting up. It convinces you to scroll through social media for just 5 minutes that somehow turns into an hour. It makes you avoid difficult conversations, delay important work, and choose comfort over growth. The scary part? Most people never notice it's happening. They think they're making logical choices, when in reality, their brain is simply following old patterns that were built years ago. But here's the good news. Your brain isn't fixed. It can be trained. It can be rewired. And once you understand a few simple brain hacks, you can start making better decisions almost automatically. By the end of this video, you'll discover practical techniques that can help you break bad habits, improve your focus, reduce stress, and finally take control of your life instead of letting your brain control you. Let's dive in. Think about the last time you promised yourself you would start exercising, or eat healthier, or finally finish that important project. At the beginning, you felt excited, motivated, confident. Then, a few days later, something changed. Suddenly your brain started giving you excuses. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow. One more episode won't hurt. Sound familiar? You're not lazy. You're not weak. Your brain is simply doing what it was designed to do. For thousands of years, the human brain evolved to save energy and avoid danger. Back then, that helped people survive. Today, it often keeps us stuck. Your brain loves familiar routines because they're predictable. It prefers instant rewards over long-term success. It chooses comfort over challenge. The goal isn't to fight your brain. The goal is to understand it. Because once you understand how it works, you can make it work for you instead of against you. And that brings us to the first brain hack. Lesson 1: Your brain believes what you repeat. Here's something most people never realize. Your brain doesn't always know the difference between truth and repetition. The more often you hear something, the more likely you are to believe it, even if it isn't true. Think about someone who constantly says, I'm terrible with money. I always fail. I'm just not confident. After repeating those sentences for years, they stop feeling like opinions. They become identity. Imagine a young man named Jake. Every time he made a mistake at work, he'd quietly tell himself, I'm just not smart enough. At first, it was only frustration. But after months of repeating that sentence, he stopped volunteering for new projects. He avoided challenges. He became afraid of speaking up during meetings. Nothing had changed about his intelligence. Only the story he kept telling himself. His brain accepted that story as reality. Now think about successful athletes. Before a competition, many of them visualize winning. They repeat positive statements. They imagine themselves succeeding. Why? Because repetition programs the brain. Your mind is always listening to the words you say, especially the ones you say to yourself. Here's the surprising part. Negative self-talk creates negative habits. Positive self-talk creates positive expectations. This doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing language that helps instead of hurts. Instead of saying, I always procrastinate, try, I'm learning to take action faster. Instead of, I'm bad at public speaking, say, I'm becoming a more confident speaker every time I practice. These small changes may sound simple, but over time, they reshape how your brain sees you. And your actions begin matching that new identity. Researchers have found that repeated thoughts strengthen the brain pathways connected to those thoughts. The more often you think something, the easier it becomes to think it again. That's why one negative belief can quietly control your entire life. But the opposite is also true. One empowering belief, repeated consistently, can completely change your future. Here's a simple exercise. For the next 7 days, pay attention to your inner voice. Every time you catch yourself saying something negative, stop. Replace it with a statement that points toward growth. Not perfection. Growth. Your brain doesn't change overnight. But it does change through repetition. Remember this. You become what you repeatedly tell yourself you are. So choose your words carefully. Because your brain is always listening. But here's where things get even more interesting. Even if you change your thoughts, your environment may still be controlling your decisions without you realizing it. Lesson 2: Your environment is programming your brain. Have you ever noticed something strange? You walk into the kitchen just to grab a glass of water. 30 seconds later, you're standing in front of the refrigerator eating leftovers, and you don't even remember deciding to do it. Or maybe you planned to study for an hour, but the moment your phone buzzed, you picked it up. One notification became 10. 10 became 20. Before you knew it, an entire hour had disappeared. Here's the surprising part. Most of your daily decisions aren't made by willpower. They're made by your environment. Your brain is constantly scanning everything around you for cues. It looks for shortcuts so it doesn't have to think too hard. That's why your surroundings quietly shape your habits more than motivation ever will. Imagine two friends, Alex and Ryan. Both want to get healthier. Alex fills his kitchen with chips, cookies, soda, and candy. Every time he walks by the pantry, his brain gets a reminder to snack. Ryan does something different. He places a bowl of fresh fruit on the kitchen counter. He keeps a water bottle on his desk. Healthy meals are already prepared in the refrigerator. After a month, Ryan isn't stronger because he has more discipline. He's stronger because he made the right choice easier. That's the real brain hack. Successful people don't rely on motivation every day, they design an environment that makes success almost automatic. Think about your own room. Is your phone sitting next to your bed? If it is, your brain already knows where to look the moment you wake up. Is your workout equipment hidden in a closet? Your brain sees exercise as something difficult because it's out of sight. Want to read more books? Don't leave them on a shelf, put one on your pillow. Want to drink more water? Keep a bottle within arm's reach. Want to stop scrolling? Charge your phone across the room before you go to sleep. These tiny changes may seem unimportant. But your brain notices them. Every object around you sends a silent message. And over time, those messages become habits. Most people never realize this. They blame themselves for lacking discipline. But often, the real problem isn't the person. It's the environment. If temptation is always within reach, your brain eventually gives in. If success is easy to start, your brain follows that path instead. Here's a simple challenge. Look around the room you're in right now. Ask yourself one question: what in this room is encouraging the person I want to become? And then ask another: what in this room is keeping me stuck? The answers might surprise you. Change your environment, and you'll start changing your behavior without forcing yourself every single day. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Even with the perfect environment, your brain still has another powerful weakness: it loves instant rewards, and that's exactly why so many people struggle to stay consistent. Lesson 3: Your brain chooses instant pleasure over long-term success. Imagine someone gives you two choices. You can have $20 today, or $50 1 month from now. Many people take the 20. Not because it's smarter. Because the brain loves immediate rewards. This is one of the biggest reasons people struggle with money, fitness, relationships, and success. Your brain is wired to chase what feels good now. Scrolling social media feels good now. Eating junk food feels good now. Watching one more episode feels good now. The problem? The rewards of success usually come later. Exercise hurts today but makes you healthier months from now. Saving money feels difficult today but creates freedom in the future. Learning a new skill feels uncomfortable now but opens new opportunities later. Your brain naturally focuses on today's comfort instead of tomorrow's benefits. But here's the exciting news. You can train it. Think about a woman named Sarah. She wanted to build a reading habit. Every evening she planned to read. Every evening she ended up watching TV. Instead of forcing herself to read for an hour, she created a simple brain hack. She allowed herself to drink her favorite coffee only while reading. Suddenly, reading became associated with something enjoyable. Within weeks, the habit felt natural. She didn't change her personality. She changed the reward. This is called making good habits satisfying. Your brain repeats behaviors that feel rewarding. So if you want a habit to stick, give your brain an immediate reason to enjoy it. Celebrate small wins. Track your progress. Use a habit tracker. Cross off every successful day on a calendar. Each small victory releases a feeling of accomplishment that tells your brain, do this again. Here's another trick. Instead of focusing on the huge goal, focus on the next tiny action. Don't think about losing 50 pounds. Think about today's workout. Don't think about writing a book. Think about writing one page. Small actions feel less overwhelming. And once you start, momentum takes over. Remember this. Your future isn't built by one giant decision. It's built by hundreds of tiny choices your brain makes. Every single day out, if you can make those small choices enjoyable, success becomes much easier than you ever imagined. But stay with me. Lesson 4, your brain exaggerates fear. Have you ever noticed how your brain can turn a small challenge into a huge disaster? You want to ask for a promotion. Your brain whispers, what if they say no? You want to start a business. What if you lose everything? You want to speak in front of a crowd. What if everyone laughs at you? Here's the surprising truth, your brain isn't trying to ruin your life, but it's trying to protect you. Thousands of years ago, being rejected by your tribe could threaten your survival. Taking unnecessary risks could be deadly. So your brain evolved to constantly look for danger. The problem is that your brain still reacts the same way today, even when the danger is just sending an email, starting a new job, or speaking in a meeting. Imagine a young woman named Emily. She dreamed of starting her own online business. She spent months planning, she bought courses, she designed a website, but every time she was ready to launch, fear stopped her. What if nobody buys? What if people judge me? What if I fail? Months turned into years, then one day, she asked herself a simple question. What if it actually works? That single question shifted everything. She launched her business. Her first month wasn't perfect. She made mistakes, she learned, she improved. A year later, she was earning more than she ever did at her old job. The biggest obstacle wasn't competition. It wasn't money. It was the imaginary fear her brain created. Here's a powerful brain hack. Whenever fear appears, don't ask, what if I fail? Instead ask, what evidence do I actually have? Most of the time, you'll realize your brain is predicting a future that hasn't happened. Another trick is called the October 10 rule. Ask yourself, will this matter in 10 minutes? Will it matter in 10 months? Will it matter in 10 years? Most embarrassing moments disappear far faster than. Your brain wants you to believe a fear grows in imagination. It shrinks with action. Every small step teaches your brain that you're safe. The first workout is scary, the 10th feels normal, the first video is terrifying. The 50th feels exciting. Confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence is created by action. Remember that, because most people spend their lives waiting to feel ready. Successful people simply begin. But here's something even more surprising. Even after you overcome fear, your brain still has another hidden habit. It loves distractions, and if you don't control them, they'll quietly steal your dreams one notification at a time. Let's dive into that. Lesson 5. Protect your focus like your future depends on it. Think about the last time you sat down to do something important. Maybe it was studying, working, reading, writing. For the first few minutes, everything was going well, then your phone vibrated. You checked one notification. Someone sent a funny meme. You opened Instagram. 5 minutes became 20. 20 became 40-5. By the time you returned to work, your focus was gone. Sound familiar? Here's what most people don't realize. Every interruption forces your brain to reset. It takes time to fully regain deep concentration. That's why constantly switching between tasks leaves you mentally exhausted even if you haven't accomplished much. Imagine your attention as a flashlight. When you keep moving it from one thing to another, nothing gets enough light. But when you hold it steady on one target, everything becomes clearer. Highly successful people understand this. They don't just manage time. They protect attention. A software engineer named Michael noticed he was busy all day but rarely finished important work. So he tried one experiment. Every morning, he put his phone in another room. He closed every unnecessary browser tab. He turned off notifications, then he worked for 90 minutes without interruption. The results shock. He finished more work in those 90 minutes than he used to finish in an entire afternoon. His brain wasn't suddenly smarter. It was simply free from constant distractions. Here's a simple challenge you can try tomorrow. Choose one important task. Set a timer for just 30 minutes, put your phone out of reach, close everything you don't need during those 30 minutes, do only one thing that you'll probably notice something amazing. At first, your brain will beg for distraction. It'll want to check messages. Open another tab, stand up. Do anything except focus. Don't give in. After a few minutes, something changes. Your brain settles down, your concentration becomes stronger, your ideas begin flowing naturally. This is called deep focus. And it's becoming one of the rarest skills in the modern world. The people who master it will always have an advantage. Because while everyone else is distracted, they're creating, learning, building, growing. Remember this, your attention is your most valuable resource. Where your attention goes, your life follows. And stay with me, because the next lesson may be the most powerful of all. You'll discover how your daily identity, not your goals, determines the future you create. Lesson 6, your identity shapes every decision you make. Let me ask you a simple question. Who are you? Not your name. Not your job. Not where you live. Who do you believe you are? Because the answer to that question quietly controls almost every decision you make. Most people think their actions create their identity, but in reality, the opposite is often true. Your identity creates your actions. Think about someone who says, "I'm not a morning person." Even if they set an alarm for 6 a.m., they'll probably hit the snooze button. Why? Because their actions are trying to match the identity they believe. Now think about someone who says, "I'm the kind of person who keeps promises to myself." That single belief changes everything. When it's time to exercise, they work out. When it's time to save money, they save. When it's time to study, they study, not because they're superhuman, because their actions match who they believe they are. Here's a story. A man named Daniel had tried to quit smoking 5 different times. Every attempt failed. One day, instead of saying, "I'm trying to quit smoking," he started saying, "I don't smoke." It sounded like a small difference, but it completely changed his mindset. Every time someone offered him a cigarette, he wasn't fighting temptation. He was protecting his identity. And over time, that new identity became real. This is one of the most powerful brain hacks you'll ever learn. Don't focus only on what you want to achieve, focus on who you want to become. Instead of saying, "I want to read more," say, "I'm a reader." Instead of, "I want to get fit," say, "I'm someone who takes care of my body." Instead of, "I want to be successful," say, "I'm the kind of person who finishes what I start." Your brain loves consistency. Once it accepts a new identity, it begins looking for actions that support it. Every small action becomes a vote for the person you're becoming. One workout doesn't make you an athlete. One book doesn't make you a reader. One healthy meal doesn't make you healthy. But every repeated action strengthens your identity, and eventually, success stops feeling like something you force. It becomes part of who you are. Lesson 7, small changes create extraordinary results. Here's the biggest mistake people make. They believe success comes from one huge breakthrough. One big opportunity. One life-changing moment. But that's rarely how life works. Your brain changes through repetition, not revolution. Imagine 2 people. One improves by just 1% every day. The other stays exactly the same. At first, there's almost no difference. After a week, still very little. After a month, the gap starts growing. After a year, the difference is incredible. That's how real transformation happens. Not through giant leaps, through tiny improvements repeated consistently. Think about brushing your teeth. It doesn't seem important on any single day. But imagine not brushing them for a year. Tiny habits matter because they compound. The same is true for your brain. You're reading 10 pages a day, walking 20 minutes. Saving $10, meditating for 5 minutes. Practicing one new skill. None of these feel life-changing today, but together, they create a completely different future. Here's another story. A young programmer wanted to become one of the best in his field. Instead of studying for 10 hours every weekend, he studied just 30 minutes every single day. His friends laughed. It'll take forever. But he ignored them. After 2 years, he had learned more than people who kept waiting for motivation. Consistency beat intensity. That's the real secret. Your brain trusts patterns. When you repeat small positive actions, your brain starts expecting them. Eventually, they become automatic. That's when real change happens. Not because you're trying harder. Because you've become a different person. Conclusion: let's take a moment to remember what we've learned today. Your brain believes what you repeat. So speak to yourself with confidence, not criticism. Your environment shapes your habits. Design it to make success easier. Your brain loves instant rewards. Make good habits enjoyable so they'll stick. Fear is often just your brain trying to protect you. Don't let imaginary problems stop real opportunities. Your attention is one of your greatest assets. Protect it from constant distractions. Your identity controls your actions. Become the kind of person you want to be. And finally, never underestimate the power of small daily improvements. The life you want isn't built in one day. It's built one decision at a time. One habit at a time. One thought at a time. Every successful person you admire started exactly where you are. They weren't born with a perfect brain. They simply learned how to work with it instead of against. So here's my challenge for you. Don't try to change your entire life tomorrow. Choose just one brain hack from this video. Practice it every day for the next 7 days. See what happens. You might be surprised by how quickly your mind begins to change. Because when you change your brain, you change your decisions. When you change your decisions, you change your habits, and when you change your habits, you change your future. If this summary helped you become just 1% smarter today, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more life-changing book summaries, and share this with someone who wants to unlock their brain's full potential. Thanks for watching, and remember, your brain is your most powerful tool. Train it wisely, and there's almost no limit to what you can achieve.